The pupil voice is crucial to learning, but it's rarely heard by teachers.
It would be interesting to me to see how they see the lessons in general.
The pupil panel changes that. At a school in Doncaster, South Yorkshire, 6 students are going to assess their maths teacher Angela Grail's performance in class.
Know the meaning of foil? What does it mean?
And give their direct opinions on the style and content of one lesson.
So multiply them out now, James.
I can really tell everyone what I think about the maths lesson.
First, the whole class will give an instant verdict on the lesson.
Class, if you enjoyed the lesson, put your green cards up. If you didn't, put the red cards up.
The pupil panel then get together in private and video their thoughts.
What about the style of the lesson did you like?
With no teachers around, the pupil voice is uncensored.
That can be a bit boring and repetitive if you're doing that every single lesson.
Yeah.
Later, Angela gets to hear everything they say.
I think that she should explain some stuff better.
How is she going to explain it better?
She should check if everyone understands it.
Miss said, right, does everyone get it? And I looked round at you and you went, no, you should say something then, shouldn't you? If you don't.
She's like on a roll all the time, and then I don't want to be one that just goes, hang on a minute, and she has to stop.
And she can use the feedback to develop as a teacher.
I'm hoping that some of them will be able to say that they enjoy maths and that this lesson really was everything they wanted it to be.
It could be an interesting experience.
My name's Angela Grail and I teach at Ridgewood School in Doncaster. We're an engineering specialist school and as maths teacher we form part of a key subject within that. I've been teaching mathematics here for, well, this is my 11th year. And the class I'm going to be teaching today are Year 9 top set class. I'm hoping it'll give me some pointers as to how I could teach the lessons differently. I do try to get feedback during the plenary of the lesson to see how they have learnt and how they think the lesson went. With the pupil panel, they'll be able to say exactly what they feel.
The class choose a panel of 6 to represent them.
I'm looking forward to the pupil panel. I'm a bit nervous, but I think it'll be a good chance to express my opinions on the lesson and make it better for everyone.
Miss is a really good teacher and she explains everything really well.
She lets us do a lot of practical, which means I can spend longer on subjects I really don't like doing.
The fun stuff is good because you can see whether you actually understand the work, but sometimes it slows you down.
Maths is alright, but I do struggle on some things.
When I leave school, I like to be a pilot, and I'd need maths for that because I have to calculate the coordinates.
The lesson today is based on algebra, and we're going to start off with an activity where the pupils look at the difference between expressions and equations. After that, we will be solving equations with double brackets on both sides. So the pupils will have to solve the equations for themselves, but also then look at problems with shapes and formulate the equations for themselves before solving them. I think some of them might find that quite challenging. OK, get yourselves in, please, quickly. Let's not waste any time.
Now the real work begins. Angela introduces the lesson the panel will be reviewing.
OK, today then we are multiplying out brackets using foil. First, outside, inside, last. Can someone give me, please, an example of an expression? X is equal to 2. Choose an expression, write it on your whiteboards. We could choose any variable, M, Y, P, anything you want. Y plus M, yeah, but let's stick with X.
Are they what you start off with and they simplify?
The ones in the brackets are the questions.
For part of the lesson, the class works in groups.
Yeah. Have more confidence in yourself. You were right. Good, we're all there. So those are your 2 brackets. Some of you did not get towards the end there, but some of you just about managed it. I'm going to pass you over to pupil panel now. I think the lesson went well. I was pleased with it.
But it's the pupils' verdict on the lesson that really counts.
Class, if you enjoyed the lesson, put your green cards up. If you didn't, put the red cards up.
The class really enjoyed the lesson.
Did you understand the lesson?
But a mixture of red and green cards showed some remained confused. It's an anxious time for Angela. She won't find out until later how the vote went.
Well, obviously, it's my teaching which is on the line. It's quite nerve-wracking.
With the rest of the class dismissed, Head of Pupil Panel Matt puts the jury into session.
So, panel, did you enjoy the lesson?
Yeah, I thought it was good, and when we're working in groups, it helps you to learn stuff better. So if you didn't get something on your own, someone else can explain it to you.
It was quite quick and I did understand it myself. You could help each other as well.
A few days later, Angela comes in to watch the panel's verdict.
So what do you actually think of the algebra?
I think that she should explain some stuff better.
How is she going to explain it better?
If someone doesn't understand something, she should check if everyone understands it.
Miss said, right, does everyone get it? And I looked round at you and you went, no, you should say something then, shouldn't you, if you don't...
She's like on a roll all the time, and then I don't want to be one that just goes, hang on a minute, and she has to stop, tell it to me, and then carry on and just keep going.
I'm always asking Rachel if she'll help me because I don't want to put my hand up.
What's the result of multiplying 4x by 2x? Lee? 8x squared, well done.
It seems the students were reluctant to interrupt.
I think it moved a bit slow because she spent too much time on one question. She should have given more questions
I'm opposite. I think it was too fast.
Yeah. One thinks it's too slow, one thinks it's too fast.
It's like the working with the cards onto board questions, that were too quick. I mean, she showed you answers straight away, but I was still trying to work it out on the whiteboard. And she just moved on. She's going, oh, this is the extension questions. I'm like, whoa, slow down, I haven't quite finished this one yet.
People maybe like me and Rachel, I was straight away done with that.
She gave me an extra
and I just got bored, you know.
I think if some people have finished, you should set them harder questions so the people who haven't finished yet can work on what they're already on.
That's what I did. Well done, brilliant.
OK, we have our first pair who've got the answers.
I think that she should, at the start of the lesson, put some questions on the board or something, or give out sheets, so that everyone can work through them at their own pace.
Because from my point of view, I don't want to move down to set 2 because the working here is fine. It's just I'm a bit slower than everyone else.
If some people go back to set 2, then they'll stop learning as much and they'll get lower marks anyway.
Can you please put those back together again now?
We could do loads more on the whiteboard because it's more you and the whiteboard, not everyone writing the same thing in a book. It's more independent as well, but then you can work as a group as well, can't you?
It's just between you and that, then you can have a bit of fun with how you're thinking.
Choose an expression, write it on your whiteboards. Now put your whiteboards in order, going from smallest to largest. Substitution. Well done.
What would you do to make the lesson better?
I think I'd slow it down a bit so anyone who doesn't get stuff can just work on that, and I'd help people. But if someone does finish, just give them some more questions to do.
I just check just every so often, more than once a lesson, if everyone's up to date.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then you can go to them while you've set some other work for everyone else.
Do you find that there's enough time to write, or do you find it too action-packed?
I think that there's enough time to write for me, but I know that a lot of people don't get enough questions done in the time. But we've got SATs coming up and we've got loads of tests, and there you have a set time to do it. And if people can't do the questions in time in the lessons, they won't be able to get enough done in the test.
Oh, you're right about the SATs.
They've got some really good ideas.
Time then.
Yeah. Can you work me out this side of the equation, and can I have that one, and that one, working me out this side of the equation, please? 1 minute, and let's see what we get when we've got that. OK, I'm going to stop you in about 30 seconds.
That's that one then, isn't it?
So what do we think of Mrs. Grail?
She's a really good teacher, but she just needs to slow it down and maybe check up on people more often.
I think Miss Grail needs to make sure each pair, if you're working in pairs, are up to date with the work she's set.
Miss Grail needs to leave a longer time gap in between each piece of work set, but make sure there's enough work set for the people who have already done the questions.
Because then everyone could do it at their own pace, and when people had finished one question, they don't have to wait for everybody else to finish. They can carry straight on.
Miss Grail's a good teacher, but she could slow it down for people who aren't as good as the smart people and don't understand it. Right, panel, Mrs. Grail, is she a good teacher?
Yeah. Yes, I'm a good teacher. That was really interesting. It's a new opportunity to be able to see what the children actually think, to get their opinions when we're not in there. Some of them found it too fast, whereas others found it too slow, which is clearly a problem when you're teaching over a few levels.
Between the exercises like the working with the cards onto board questions that were too quick.
Children don't realise that it's keeping the pace and keeping them on the edge of their limits, on the edge of their potential, which in fact does drive up standards.
Everyone can work through them at their own pace, and if people have any questions, I should go through them so everyone knows how to work it out, and then people can just work through them at their own pace.
What one of the girls said was to provide more questions at once, leading on to the harder extension material, would be beneficial, and I think I will start to do that. Now we're going to work in pairs. We have a set of cards here. When you are teaching a few levels at once, then you do have to cater to the majority, and the hands-on interactive work does benefit most. There are some pupils, it's mainly the highest ability within the class, who can find it a little bit of a time-wasting activity, and they want to get to the extension questions and move on quickly. I was pleased to see that quite a few of them enjoyed using the whiteboards. I do use the whiteboards regularly in class, and since a couple of years ago we've had them fixed in the back of the pupil planners, so it's not a big activity getting them out and getting the pens out like it used to be.
She's like on a roll all the time, and then I don't want to be one that just goes, hang on a minute, and she has to stop, tell it to me, and then carry on and just keep going.
One more thing which I've learned from the cassette is that pupils do seem to find it difficult to ask questions. Not the ones who ask questions all the time, but the quieter ones. And maybe that's due to the pace of the lessons.
But no one wants to say anything because they'll stop the flow.
I'm always asking Rachel if she'll help me because I don't want to put my hand up.
I think one of the methods I could use is a thumbs up, thumbs down. Rather than just asking any questions, does everybody understand? Quite looking forward to that, to see if that works. I'm looking forward to improving a few of the things which they've mentioned were problems in the lesson. I've jotted them down and I'm going to take them on board.
Angela takes the class again a week later and tries out her new plan.
So after a question, if you think, when we've gone through it and I go through the answer, you understand how to answer a question like that or another one which would be similar, you understand that question, thumbs up. If you're not so sure and you think you need quite a bit more practice on that, like that. If you think you don't understand the concept at all, you're like that. They are taking more charge now of their own learning, and if we bear that in mind, we can expect them to do better if they're feeling more confident. We need to know exactly how they're feeling about their work. What are some vital formulae which we need when we're dealing with circles? All I can see is you've not written down any of the formulas there. So you're a little bit mixed up with your big numbers. That'll be what's putting you off. They're feeling they would like more time to consolidate, and I think that's not being expressed quite as clearly, and I will try and look into that more often now. Tell me what you think. If you are quite happy with what I've done on the board, give me some of that, and we will be moving on. If you think we need more practice doing this kind of thing, be it for circles or be it for manipulation of formulae, like that. If you have no idea what's just happened. Okay? I think we can say we need a little bit more practice on that. Okay, thanks. We will move on. Yeah, pupil panel, it's been good fun. Definitely something different to do. Interesting and beneficial, I hope.